From the moment she appeared on the scene, Guli Nazha seemed destined for greatness. With a face that captivated a nation and a debut that launched her into superstardom, her path looked like a modern fairy tale. But for every ounce of adoration she received, she would face a pound of scrutiny. Her story is one of dramatic highs and devastating lows. From being the target of a nationwide hate campaign to navigating scandals that threatened to end her career. It's a gripping look at the brutal price of fame and the battles fought both in public and in private. To see the full story behind the headlines, keep watching and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content. Guli Nazha's journey into the unforgiving world of stardom began with a sense of destiny. A storybook beginning that few could have predicted would lead to such turbulent chapters. Born in Urumqi, the capital of the Xinjiang region, she possessed a look that was immediately striking and distinct from the majority of aspiring actresses in China. Her Uyghur heritage gave her sharply defined features, large, expressive eyes, and an almost ethereal quality that made her stand out effortlessly. Even before she had a single professional credit to her name, she was causing a stir. In 2011, during her entrance auditions for the legendary Beijing Film Academy, the training ground for China's biggest movie stars, photos of the young applicant went viral. The public was captivated. Here was a face that seemed both classic and modern, a unique beauty that promised a new kind of star power. She hadn't even been accepted into the school yet, but a fan base was already beginning to form around the mystery and allure of her image. After successfully enrolling, she was quickly signed by a major talent agency, and her professional debut was not a minor role in some forgotten drama, but a key part in a massive television event. In 2012, she was cast as Yu Xiaoxue in the fantasy epic Zhuan Wan's Sword, Scar of Sky. Her character was the embodiment of purity and innocence, a gentle and compassionate being descended from a goddess. The role was a perfect fit for her public image. On screen, she seemed almost otherworldly, and her performance, though she was still a newcomer, resonated with millions of viewers. The show was a huge hit, and Guli Nazha became a household name overnight. The media dubbed her a goddess, a title frequently bestowed upon the most beautiful actresses of the generation. But for Nazha, it felt especially fitting. Her early career was a whirlwind of positive attention. She was celebrated for her looks, praised for her potential, and quickly amassed a legion of devoted fans who saw her as a fresh and exciting addition to the entertainment landscape. For a few years, her path seemed paved with gold, a smooth ascent from an unknown girl from Xinjiang to one of the nation's most talked about young actresses. Then, in 2015, her story took a dramatic and difficult turn. The source was not a professional misstep or a personal failing, but something far more common, and yet, in the world of celebrity, far more explosive: love. She fell for the popular actor Hans Zhang. Under normal circumstances, this would have been celebrated news, a classic celebrity power couple in the making. But these were not normal circumstances. Hans Zhang had just come out of a very long and very public relationship with another beloved actress, Zheng Shuang. Zhang and Jing had been an iconic on-screen and off-screen couple, a pair that fans had invested in emotionally for years. Their breakup was a national event, leaving millions of their supporters heartbroken and looking for someone to blame. When Hans Zhang made his new relationship public in August of that year, he did so with a simple post on Weibo, China's version of Twitter. He shared a picture of them kissing, accompanied only by a heart symbol and emojis representing their Chinese zodiac signs. It was meant to be a sweet, modern declaration of love, but it ignited a firestorm of hate that would rage for years. The timing was everything. In the eyes of a vast and vocal segment of the public, Guli Nazha was not Hans Zhang's new partner. She was the reason his previous relationship had ended. Instantly, she was branded a homewrecker and a scheming fox. It did not matter that the timeline of the relationships was private and unknown to the public. A narrative had been created, and it was devastatingly effective. The backlash was relentless and overwhelming. Every social media post she made was flooded with thousands of abusive comments. Her name became synonymous with the scandal. She was no longer just the beautiful actress from Xuanyuan's Sword. She was the woman who had broken up China's favorite couple. This period marked a brutal introduction to the darker side of fame. The adoration she had once received curdled into vicious scrutiny. Her every move was analyzed, her every picture dissected for signs of malice or arrogance. The pressure was immense and inescapable, a constant barrage of digital animosity that followed her everywhere. It was a trial by public opinion, and the verdict had been delivered with swift and cruel certainty. For 2.5 years, she and Hans Zhang weathered the storm together, their relationship playing out under the shadow of constant public disapproval. Finally, in December 2017, their studios released a joint statement announcing their amicable split. The statement was professional and polite, but it included a crucial detail. It acknowledged that the relationship had borne too much pressure from the outside world and that the constant scrutiny had taken its toll. The golden beginning of Guli Nazha's career had given way to a harsh and painful education in the brutal realities of celebrity life. A chapter that would close, but whose effects would linger for years to come. As the echoes from her tumultuous relationship with Hans Zhang faded, Guli Nazha entered a new phase of her career, one focused on rebuilding and reclaiming her own narrative. The years that followed were dedicated to work, a steady stream of television dramas and films that kept her in the public eye. The intense, personal hatred that had once defined her online presence had subsided into a more manageable hum of celebrity chatter. She was working, moving forward, and carefully navigating the landscape of her fame. But the spotlight is relentless, and it often finds new and unexpected ways to create trouble. In December 2019, she was invited to be a presenter at the Mnet Asian Music Awards, a massive star-studded event held in Japan. It was a prestigious opportunity, a chance to represent the Chinese entertainment industry on an international stage. Dressed in a stunning silver gown, she walked onto the stage looking every bit the superstar, ready for her moment. That moment, however, did not unfold as planned. Tasked with announcing the winner for Best Dance Performance Solo, she began to speak in English. What came out was a slow, drawn-out delivery, her voice lilting with a thick accent as she stretched each word into multiple syllables. In the cavernous arena under the bright lights, her hesitation and uncertainty were palpable. For an international audience, it might have been a minor linguistic hiccup, but for the millions watching online back in China, it became an instant source of national ridicule. Within minutes, clips of her speech went viral on Weibo. It was dubbed Pidgin English and became the subject of countless memes, parodies, and comedic remixes. Her halting delivery of the winner's name, Chengha, became a nationwide inside joke. It was a different kind of controversy from what she had faced before. It was not malicious or hateful, but it was deeply embarrassing. The incident overshadowed the entire event for Chinese viewers, and her name trended for days for all the wrong reasons. Guli Nazha later addressed the gaffe with good humor, explaining on social media that the venue was incredibly loud and she had screamed her lines out, not realizing how it would sound. It was a humbling experience, a public flub that reminded her just how unforgiving the spotlight could be, even when the stakes seemed low. If the awards show was a moment of public embarrassment, what came 3 years later was a full-blown crisis, a situation that threatened to drag her back into the darkest chapter of her past. In August 2022, the entertainment world was rocked by a scandal involving actor Shu Kai-cheng and his longtime girlfriend, actress Zhang Tianai. Guli Nazha had just finished filming a new television series with Shu Kai-cheng, where they played the romantic leads. Their professional collaboration suddenly became intensely personal when Zhang Tianai released a bombshell audio recording. In the clip, a distraught Shu Kai-cheng could be heard tearfully admitting to his girlfriend that he had been unfaithful. He confessed to a drunken indiscretion, breaking down as he tried to explain his actions. While he never mentioned a name, the public immediately filled in the blank. The timing was too perfect, the connection too obvious. The internet mob decided that Guli Nazha must be the other woman. Instantly, the old labels were dusted off and hurled at her with renewed venom. The term homewrecker, which had haunted her for years, resurfaced with a vengeance. It seemed like a nightmare repeating itself, another man's infidelity being laid squarely at her feet. Online forums exploded with accusations, and her reputation was once again on the line. But this was a different Guli Nazha from the young woman who had weathered the storm years ago. She was no longer willing to be a silent victim in someone else's drama. Her response was swift, decisive, and utterly stunning. Instead of issuing a formal denial through her agency, she took to her personal Weibo account and reposted the exact same incriminating audio file that Zhang Tianai had shared. She put the evidence against her alleged partner front and center for her own millions of followers to hear. And then she added her own caption, a furious and unequivocal declaration of her innocence. She wrote that she had never been, was not, and never would be a third party in someone's relationship. She declared that the recording had finally allowed her to see Xu Kaicheng for who he truly was, a liar. With that one move, she flipped the entire narrative. She was not the accomplice. She was another victim of his deceit. This was not a defense. It was a counterattack. The public reaction was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Her boldness was praised, her clarity admired. People who had been quick to judge her suddenly saw a woman refusing to be scapegoated. By using her platform to expose the lie directly, she had not only cleared her name, but had also demonstrated a strength and resilience that earned her a new level of respect, proving she was no longer a passive target for public outrage. After navigating the treacherous waters of public scandal and emerging with her reputation intact, Guli Nazha found herself facing a different, more insidious set of challenges. The battles were no longer explosive, front-page controversies centered on relationships, but a quieter, more grinding war fought on two fronts. One against professional expectations, and the other within the silent complexities of her own identity. Having masterfully dismantled the accusations in the Xu Kaicheng affair, she had proven her personal resilience. Yet, in the meritocracy of the entertainment industry, public sympathy only goes so far. The question of her talent, a murmur that had persisted throughout her career, grew into a more audible and persistent conversation. From her earliest days, critics and audiences alike had acknowledged her undeniable beauty, a quality so potent it often seemed to be both her greatest asset and her most significant crutch. The persistent critique was that her performances lacked depth, that her stunning features remained a beautiful mask that failed to convey the complex emotions bubbling underneath. This professional criticism began to crystallize into tangible career hurdles. In the years following 2023, several of the television dramas where she was the top-billed star failed to make a significant impact. They came and went without generating the blockbuster ratings or the explosive social media buzz that top-tier productions are expected to create. In the cutthroat calculus of the film and television industry, audience numbers and commercial success are the ultimate currency. An actor's bankability is measured by their last hit, and a string of underperforming projects can quickly lead to a cooling of interest from investors and major producers. Whispers in the industry and articles in entertainment news outlets began to suggest that Guli Nazha's career was facing a slowdown. The A-list projects, the ones with the biggest budgets and most acclaimed directors, were reportedly becoming harder to secure. It was said that she was no longer an automatic choice for a leading lady. In response, a new strategy seemed to emerge. Reports suggested she was beginning to consider and even take on second lead roles. This was not necessarily a demotion, but a savvy tactical pivot. By joining a project with a stronger ensemble cast or a more bankable lead, she could align herself with a potential hit, reminding the industry and the audience of her value and presence, without bearing the full weight of a show's success or failure on her shoulders. It was the move of a pragmatist, an actress fighting to stay relevant and prove her detractors wrong in a system that is notoriously unforgiving. While she wrestled with these professional pressures, a far more complex and delicate challenge simmered constantly in the background, one tied to the very core of who she is. Her Uyghur heritage, the attribute that had made her so uniquely captivating at the start of her career, had become entangled in a web of international politics. As global awareness grew around the human rights situation in her home region of Xinjiang, Guli Nazha, along with other prominent Uyghur celebrities, was placed in an impossible position. In her home country, she is celebrated as a successful representative of a minority culture, a symbol of national unity and diversity promoted by the state. Her career, her platform, and her safety depend on operating within this framework. To even acknowledge the international reports of repression and forced labor camps would be an act of professional suicide and could carry severe personal consequences. Yet, on the global stage, her silence was interpreted by many as complicity. International human rights organizations and overseas commentators questioned how she could remain a smiling, non-political public figure while her people were allegedly suffering. She was caught in a silent bind, trapped between the narrative of her government and the condemnation of the outside world. Her identity, once a simple source of beauty and pride, now carried an immense, unspoken weight. Every cheerful social media post, every glamorous red carpet appearance existed in the shadow of this profound and polarizing issue. It was a difficulty she could never publicly address, a controversy defined by her silence, adding an invisible layer of complexity to her already scrutinized life. This life under a microscope meant that even the smallest personal choices could spiral into public debates. Beyond the grand dramas of her career and identity, she was subject to a constant stream of minor scrutinies that collectively demonstrated the immense pressure she was under. On one occasion, she visited a popular theme park and posted photos of her day out. The outfit she wore, a fitted top and pants, was deemed too revealing by a vocal contingent of social media users who argued it was inappropriate for a family-friendly location. The criticism was swift and judgmental, another attempt to police her body and her choices. This time, however, reflecting the more assertive persona she had developed, she pushed back. She defended her freedom to wear what she wanted, a small but significant act of defiance against conservative criticism. This incident was a microcosm of the larger battle for agency she seemed to be fighting. In addition to her clothing, her body itself was a constant topic of discussion. For years, photos of her slender frame have sparked concern among her fans and criticism from others, with endless debates about her health and weight. It was another reminder that as a public figure, every aspect of her being was considered public property, open for commentary and judgment. These seemingly smaller battles, when combined with her professional struggles and the silent burden of her political situation, painted a picture of a modern celebrity fighting on all fronts, for her career, for her reputation, and for the simple right to define herself on her own terms. Guli Nazha's journey is a powerful saga of resilience. She transformed from a young actress nearly broken by public opinion into a formidable woman who seizes control of her own narrative. From navigating vicious relationship scandals and embarrassing public mishaps to confronting professional critiques and the silent, immense pressure of her ethnic identity, she has weathered storms that would have ended other careers. Her story is not just one of survival, it's a testament to the strength required to define oneself under the constant, unforgiving glare of the spotlight. What do you think of her incredible story? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of the stars.